Good.
All right.
Totally fine.
Hello, my name is Madison Crosswhite,
And I am Ben Farrell.
and we're from the William Woods University Peer Educators. With finals steadily approaching, we wanted to put out some information regarding the stress of finals, as well as returning home for the holiday season. So, good stress, or eustress, is a feeling of excitement. This is the kind of stress that we feel when riding a roller coaster or going on a first date. There's still an increased heartbeat and hormones, however, it doesn't harm us. Acute stress isn't always exciting, but it comes from quick surprises that need a response. This is what people typically think of as bad stress. However, this type of stress does not take a heavy toll if we find ways to relax quickly. Chronic stress is another type of bad stress, where we are repeatedly facing stressors that take a heavy toll and feel almost inescapable. Our bodies aren't designed for chronic stress, so this is typically thought to be serious stress. We can face negative health effects, both physical and emotional, if we deal with chronic stress for an extended period of time.
Sweet. So factors leading to stress at school. So a lot of times, this first part of stress can come with freshman students or first year students that move to a college campus because at first, when you're back home where your high school is, a lot of times you're in kind of like a cushy environment. So maybe you have the same group of friends that you hang out with, or the same places you go to eat, or the same coffee shops that you visit. And so it's really like easy for you to fit in there and live your life and de-stress from things that maybe you don't even realize are causing you stress. So different factors that can lead to stress at school specifically are, one of the biggest is not enough sleep. So this can also lead to things like affecting your exercise or affecting your BMI or your weight. So that can really affect stress. And then you're away from home a lot of times for the first time ever. So like me, I moved to William Woods and I knew nobody at William Woods. So I just came there, everybody was a stranger, and it was really hard for me because of that reason. And so that was an unknown stress at the time. I didn't realize how much stress it was causing on me, but now that I look back on it, I realize, wow, I probably should have done something to help relieve that stress. And then another factor is securing new friends. So a lot of times you have that friend group back home, and now you're moving to a different place, and you're trying to get new friends around you. So that can be a big stressor. And then two that kind of go together are studying for all your exams or tests that you have, and then your extensive homework assignments. So sometimes just getting that email or that assignment assigned to you in class can just cause like an enormous amount of stress over you, even though you haven't really even started it a lot of times. Starting it's probably the biggest, most stressful thing that you can do for an assignment. So those are just different factors that lead to stress at school, and we'll continue on. And then we have financial implications of stress. So as we all know, since if you're watching this, you go to college right now, college is super expensive. And so according to the National Center for Education Statistics, this shows that four-year public schools are approximately $20,000 a year. And then four-year private schools are approximately $40,000 a year. And it looks like that's probably from several years ago, or maybe even 5 years ago, and because it seems like it's even more now for a lot of schools around us. And for that reason, 43% of full-time and 81% of part-time students are currently employed. So the reason why that's so stressful is that you have a lot of students who are full-time, you have a full course load, 12 to like 18 credits at our school, and you're working probably a part-time job. So you have both those stresses of getting your homework assignments done and doing your job. And then part-time students, 81% of them are doing jobs and doing part-time school. So you can see why that would play a big role in stress in your life, with the financial implications.
Awesome. So I have a video, and it explains really well the effects that chronic stress can have on the body. And so it's about to play. So just go ahead and watch it. And the link is going to be in the description of this YouTube video.
This is
Cramming for a test. Trying to get more done than you have time to do. Stress is a feeling we all experience when we are challenged or overwhelmed. But more than just an emotion, stress is a hardwired physical response that travels throughout your entire body. In the short term, stress can be advantageous, but when activated too often or too long, your primitive fight or flight stress response not only changes your brain, but also damages many of the other organs and cells throughout your body. Your adrenal gland releases the stress hormones cortisol, epinephrine, also known as adrenaline, and norepinephrine. As these hormones travel through your bloodstream, they easily reach your blood vessels and heart. Adrenaline causes your heart to beat faster and raises your blood pressure, over time causing hypertension. Cortisol can also cause the endothelium, or inner lining of blood vessels, to not function normally. Scientists now know that this is an early step in triggering the process of atherosclerosis, or cholesterol plaque buildup in your arteries. Together, these changes increase your chances of a heart attack or stroke. When your brain senses stress, it activates your autonomic nervous system. Through this network of nerve connections, your big brain communicates stress to your enteric or intestinal nervous system. Besides causing butterflies in your stomach, this brain-gut connection can disturb the natural rhythmic contractions that move food through your gut, leading to irritable bowel syndrome, and can increase your gut's sensitivity to acid, making you more likely to feel heartburn. Via the gut's nervous system, stress can also change the composition and function of your gut bacteria, which may affect your digestive and overall health. Speaking of digestion, does chronic stress affect your waistline? Well, yes. Cortisol can increase your appetite. It tells your body to replenish your energy stores with energy-dense foods and carbs, causing you to crave comfort foods. High levels of cortisol can also cause you to put on those extra calories as visceral or deep belly fat. This type of fat doesn't just make it harder to button your pants. It is an organ that actively releases hormones and immune system chemicals called cytokines that can increase your risk of developing chronic diseases such as heart disease and insulin resistance. Meanwhile, stress hormones affect immune cells in a variety of ways. Initially, they help prepare to fight invaders and heal after injury, but chronic stress can dampen the function of some immune cells, make you more susceptible to infections, and slow the rate you heal. Want to live a long life? You may have to curb your chronic stress. That's because it has even been associated with shortened telomeres, the shoelace tip ends of chromosomes that measure a cell's age. Telomeres cap chromosomes to allow DNA to get copied every time a cell divides without damaging the cell's genetic code. And they shorten with each cell division. When telomeres become too short, a cell can no longer divide, and it dies. As if all that weren't enough, chronic stress has even more ways it can sabotage your health, including acne, hair loss, sexual dysfunction, headaches, muscle tension, difficulty concentrating, fatigue, and irritability. So, what does all this mean for you? Your life will always be filled with stressful situations, but what matters to your brain and entire body is how you respond to that stress. If you can view those situations as challenges you can control and master, rather than as threats that are insurmountable, you will perform better in the short run and stay healthy in the long run.
Yeah, so that's just some of the ways or some of the reasons that it's really important to effectively manage your stress and deal with it in healthy ways.
cool. So managing stress. So one of the first ways that you can manage stress is by eating right. So eating foods with good vitamins and minerals can help prevent you from getting sick, like that video just showed. And they can also give you energy and make your whole body feel better. So a lot of times maybe we're studying, we're doing work, we're stressed, and then what do? We get in our car and we drive to Taco Bell. And maybe we should cut out some of those Taco Bell runs or cut out some of those foods that we're going to Walmart and getting late at night that really aren't helping us in the long run to help us manage our stress. So different foods like maybe different fruits and vegetables, those are really good. Or I drink tea sometimes to help relieve my stress, or coffee or something like that. But maybe decaffeinated coffee in the evening if you're going to do it that way. Another way is staying hydrated. So your brain, it's going to only function if you're properly hydrated and you're eating the right foods to help it go. So for me, I know it's really hard for me to remember to drink water. So I'm doing a lot of my schoolwork all throughout the day. Even when I get up in the morning, I just don't drink water. And then when I'm at school, normally I have practice in the afternoon, and then I'm like, get to practice and I realize I haven't drank water all day. And then practice is awful. And then of course, when I'm done with practice, it's even worse. And then I'm trying to do homework. So, a lot of us, we have such busy schedules. Staying hydrated is a simple thing that all of us can do to make sure that we're managing our stress well. And it can help in a lot more ways than just with our stress. Another way that we can manage stress is by exercising. So if you exercise, it can help you focus more. It can give you more energy, and it can really release endorphins in your brain to make you feel better. So things like going out and just taking a 15-minute walk. I know a lot of us are athletes on campus, but a lot of times our sports practices and exercise can actually make us more stressed because that's something that we have to do. So maybe do something physically active that isn't involved with your sport, if that's the case. And then taking breaks can be really good too, in helping retain knowledge. So rather than cramming for a whole test the night before or doing a whole big assignment the day before, it's really good to split that up, because it actually shows that if you're doing it in small increments, you actually retain more of that knowledge than doing it in that one big increment of trying to absorb all the information at one time. And then communication. So if you don't have somebody that you can just go to and maybe vent about things or talk to about things not related to school or anything, I would definitely try to find that person on campus that you can always go to or always text. For me, during my freshman year, I didn't talk to anybody. I just stayed in my dorm room, watched Netflix, didn't really get involved on campus. And I think I had a lot of unknown stresses that were piling up. So I would definitely encourage you to try to get involved on campus and also find somebody that you can talk to often. And then we mentioned this before, but sleeping, just get enough sleep. Like a lot of times with sleep, it's not just getting that 9 hours, 8 or 9 hours. It's about having a routine. So always going to bed at a certain time. I know for me, I don't do homework assignments really late at night because I don't focus well. I either spread it out to get it done beforehand, or if it's due that night, I just say, oh, well, I'll do it in the morning. I know it's probably not the best strategy to use if a homework assignment is due at midnight, but I won't do it. I won't stay up super late studying or doing a homework assignment. It's just pointless, just because you can't retain the information and it's not your best work. So plan ahead of time, and we'll go over, actually in your reflection form, you'll actually fill out a schedule for finals week coming up, but we'll talk about that more too.
Yeah, and I definitely know before we worked on this presentation, I didn't look at the final schedule at all. And I know I'm not alone in that boat. I'm definitely a procrastinator, and I'm definitely that person that stays up late at night, unlike Ben. I commend you on that, because that's something that I really struggle with, is doing stuff in a timely manner and not staying up until midnight completing that assignment. So if you have a class at any of these times, that means that your final is going to be on Monday, November 30th. During that normal class period. For example, I have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class from 10 to 10:50. So my final for that course will be on this Monday. And like Ben had said, in the reflection form, there's a schedule for you to plan out your mornings, your afternoons, and your nights. So go ahead and insert which finals you have on which days, as well as the times that these finals are happening.
Sweet. So you have these on this day.
Mm-hmm. So here's the classes that will be taking their finals on Tuesday, December 1st. Feel free to pause the video at any time to take a picture or to fill out your final schedule in your reflection form. Alrighty, so here is the finals for Wednesday, December 2nd. Just giving you guys time to write it down.
Sweet. Just remember you can pause on these, so it
For
may
sure,
actually
yeah.
take you more time than you're taking. So, phew.
All right, so here is the Thursday schedule. And then here's the Friday schedule for December 4th. Like I said earlier, just go ahead and fill in the times your classes will be taking their finals. And if you have any questions at all regarding your finals, I'd encourage you to reach out to your professors and see how the final exam will function in any given class. I know I have certain professors that are opening it on Monday or Tuesday, and then it's going to close on that day that their final is set to be. So every professor is doing something a little bit different, so just make sure you reach out and you know what the plan is so that you're prepared. And for the schedule in your reflection form, I'll also ask that you block off some times in your schedule to study, whether you want to specify the class you'd like to study for in a given time, or you can even set aside some general study periods to be decided later. Just include a couple of those so that you have that time set aside. And finally, make sure to include some times to relax, whether that's watching a couple episodes of your favorite Netflix series or taking a 15-minute walk. It's really important to give yourself a brain break to help you sort of absorb everything that you've been studying.
Sweet. And also remember that this schedule doesn't really change throughout your whole time in college. It's generally the same for the whole time. And you can easily find this if you don't want to try to scrounge for this presentation, but you can easily find it by just going into Google and searching like William Wood's final schedule, and it will pull up the times. But don't forget to take your finals, because we're not coming back to school. So don't think that you're on Christmas break when you go home next week.
It's going to feel like it.
Speaking about going home, one of the big things that can happen is stress during holidays. So not only are you going home to spend Thanksgiving, but you're going home now to go spend like your Christmas break. So now all of a sudden we're home, or wherever you're going, for 2 months. And so especially this year, you're going to probably have some stressors arise because of that. So we're just going to talk a little bit about that and go into different ways that you can handle that. But just know that we understand it's a long period of time, but that doesn't mean you can't get away from those people that maybe are causing you stress or those situations. So just remember to have grace with people too, especially with the year that we're having in 2020. So
Definitely.
It's Thanksgiving, and as always, Target has your whole family covered. Whether you need festive home decor, last-minute bakeware, or even a turkey. And if you're home for the first time since the election, Target's got what you need the most. A big empty parking lot you can just come sit in for a sec. With over 500 beautiful empty spots as far as the eye can see, Target's parking lot is the perfect place to just stare out, bang your head on your steering wheel, or text a friend, "I honestly can't with them today." You can even put your seat all the way flat and then put it back up again. That took a couple seconds. Or turn off your car's ignition and just look at your breath for a while. And while you're there, why not make eye contact with a stranger in another car? And without either of you saying a word, communicate the entire story of your day. Want to kill more time? Head inside. You can wander our clothes aisle and think to yourself, oh yeah, Massimo. Plop down by our bras and add random numbers on your calculator. Or go to our toy section and just lay down back there. And here's a tip. Check out the Play-Doh. Open the blue one, and surprise, we hid a flask in there for you. Bottoms up, girl. You deserve it. So this Thanksgiving, tell your parents you're going to grab something from Target real quick. Come kick it. Then go home and tell them they didn't have it. It'll be our little secret. Target, buy yourself some time. You do have to pay for all this stuff. What?
Alrighty, so it's definitely funny, but it's also super relatable, especially for me.
It's
Sorry.
It's totally fine. It's something I've definitely done to deal with the stress of being home for the break. Personally, I struggle to get along with my sister, and so at times, you know, I'll just go for a drive, sit in a parking lot, maybe just hanging out and taking a breather. It can be really therapeutic, surprisingly. And in terms of mental and emotional well-being, it's all right to say no to things and set boundaries, whether it's not engaging in things you don't want to take part in or avoiding sensitive topics. Setting boundaries is really important. And family can be difficult sometimes, so taking breaks from those family members is, again, really important. Just going for a walk or watching TV in another room, just make sure to take those breaks when you need them. Healthy coping can include anything from journaling, practicing deep breathing, meditation, or saying affirmations. Whatever coping mechanism works best for you, just make sure to take some time to step away, even if it's just for a moment.
Sweet. And then conflict and tough topics. So a lot of times when you go home, Madison was talking about maybe a personal relationship with her sister. A lot of times there may be conflict or tough topics that may arise. So different way. This is a way that maybe you can remember to handle those things that come up. Maybe in your family, and especially in the year of 2020, where there's a pandemic going on, there may be more conflicts. And then we also had an election year this month. So just a lot of things can be building up. So the first thing that you can do is identify how you're feeling and why you're feeling that way, so that, you know, maybe you identify that and you can just cut that out, and then it just stops there. There's no more conflict. But if that's not the case, if you can't figure out why, try your best to remain calm in this situation so it doesn't escalate. And then you avoid the issue if you can. So if you need to, just walk away, get out of the stressful situation. It's not really worth an argument at a time where you're spending 2 months at this place. So just to make it the most enjoyable that you can. And then when you can, attempt to compromise or collaborate. So maybe you and your family member don't agree on something or a decision, but maybe you guys can come to a compromise. One of you can get something you wanted, the other one can get something they wanted, and then you guys can move on. But just remember these 4 steps if you need to help get through a conflict or a tough time while you're away from school.
And right now we're talking a little bit about quarantine, and when talking about mental health and being in quarantine, there's a lot of things that can cause stress during a pandemic. And this video, it has a lot of really great resources, so if you need any of those, I know in the video it mentions those being in the descriptions. What you can do is you can go to the link in the description of this video to get to that video, and then those resources will be there for you.
Hey everyone! Before we get started on today's video, we at Psych2Go want to wish all of you health and safety during the outbreak of COVID-19. We'll fight this battle together, and we've got lots and lots of great videos to keep you company. When the world is experiencing a crisis, things can get pretty stressful. Social distancing is very important right now because it flattens the curve and slows down the coronavirus from spreading. But if we're not careful, social distancing can also take a toll on our mental health. We at Psych2Go want you to know that we're here to help you cope in any way we can. So here are 4 ways social distancing can affect your mental health and what to do to help yourself manage it. 1. The combination of social distancing and worry can take a negative toll on pre-existing mental health conditions. Social distancing for a long time can bring about some of the same effects of social isolation, particularly loneliness. Loneliness is known to not only increase pre-existing depression and anxiety, but can also lead to a decrease in the function of the immune system. During this time, you can avoid loneliness by remembering to digitally check in with your family and friends. Whether you send a text, make a phone call, or start a video chat, consciously staying connected will help combat any loneliness that can come about. In addition to loneliness, any increased stress during this time can worsen mental health conditions. This is why practicing self-care is crucial when you're more susceptible to stress. Self-care can be practiced in a number of ways, such as replacing gym workouts with at-home physical activity, getting an appropriate amount of sleep, and eating well. 2. Boredom. Although it seems trivial, the boredom caused by social distancing can affect your mental health. Are you running out of ideas on what to do every day? Ever since the social distancing movement started, does every day feel longer than usual? The lack of sufficient engagement with your surroundings, also known as boredom, can potentially lead to irritation, which can cause stress and anxiety. When you've watched all the shows that you wanted to watch on Netflix, it's easy to become bored during this time. Taking up new hobbies is a great way to combat boredom. If you're tired of spending time in front of the TV and are looking for ideas, we suggest possibly using this time to read, write, journal, spend time with family, create vision boards, learn a new language, complete a puzzle, or learn how to sew. For even more ideas on how to keep your mind stimulated while social distancing, check out the link in the description. 3. Staying home for an extensive period of time could increase pre-existing toxicity within family relationships. If you're living in a toxic home environment, the social distancing movement can make relationships worse. Spending extensive time at home can increase potential toxicity within families. For people who suffer from PTSD due to past family trauma or have experienced family-related toxicity in the past, social distancing can be extremely difficult and stressful. Dr. Ramani Durasula, PhD, suggests maintaining realistic expectations and limiting interactions with potentially narcissistic or abusive family members. She says that it's important to minimize communication and try your best not to internalize their displays of insecurity. We understand how difficult this can be, and we encourage you to stay in contact with and lean on your support system to help you cope with your stress. Additionally, it's also possible that with more time at home, there's also an increased risk of domestic violence. Remember that resources are still available, and the United States hotline number will be posted on the screen, 800-799-7283. In addition, a link to a list of resources will be posted in the description as well. And 4. The uncertainty and interrupted routines can bring about stress and panic. For many, including college students and employees around the world, the sudden pandemic that requires strict social distancing can leave a looming feeling of uncertainty, such as the uncertainty of their job status, especially for those who are working to make ends meet. There are many people losing their jobs due to the pandemic, which brings even more stress when it comes to supporting the family and their future. A break in our daily routines can undoubtedly bring about more stress. To cope with this, we suggest maintaining relationships with people you used to see often and trying to establish a new routine you can follow at home. Getting used to this might take a little bit of time, but it will help you feel more grounded and productive once you have a new routine going. And this is undoubtedly a stressful time for everyone, and we hope we're able to give you some insight on how to cope with social distancing due to the coronavirus pandemic on mental health. What have you been doing to manage your stress? Let us know in the comments below. We hope everyone is staying safe and healthy, and if you like this video, be sure to check out other Psych2Go videos. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
I apologize if the subtitles were not in English. Those were not super helpful to most people who are watching this video. But yeah, so in the video at the end, they asked, how are we managing our stress? And so we wanted to talk a little bit about our experiences with stress. I can go first, Ben, if you'd like me to.
Sweet. It's doing it again. I'm sorry. Here we go.
It's all good. So personally, I kind of mentioned it before, but I struggle a lot with procrastination, and it, for me, streams from having a lot of assignments due and being really overwhelmed. And so instead of, working through that feeling of being overwhelmed, I tend to just push it all off, which is an unhealthy way of coping with that. And this semester, I've kept my schedule pretty free so that I can work on that and sort of help myself in that way and be able to time manage a little bit better. And so using my free time and sort of planning a little bit more and keeping track of when things are actually due has really helped me, as well as I have a lot of trouble focusing, and that's another reason why I tend to push stuff off. So if I have a really big, overwhelming assignment, I'll set a 20-minute timer, and I'll promise myself that I'll work for that 20 minutes. And then at the end of that timer, what I'll do is I'll give myself a break, just so I have a little bit more structure in what I'm doing. So it doesn't just feel like I'm, helplessly working towards an end that's super far away. And that's sort of how I've been managing. I've tried using planners. It's just not my thing. I have a calendar, a dry erase calendar that I can keep track of, when I'm on duty, because I'm a community advisor, as well as when assignments are due. So that's what I've been doing this semester to manage my stress and keep myself from getting stressed. And it's been pretty helpful.
Sweet. And then for me, I think I had mentioned this. I do pretty good at time management and making sure I'm doing my assignments early. And one way that I do that to help eliminate stress is I use the notes function on my Mac. And so I make a list, and then when I'm done with an assignment, I delete it. And so then it feels like I'm accomplishing things. And then also if you're I'm not just speaking to Madison, I'm just explaining my own personal experience. But then if you're ahead of your assignments, if you're doing them early, if you're doing them right when you get them, then you can have days where you can procrastinate. So like some days this semester I've just gotten up and I had nothing due for like 4 days. And I was like, well, I don't feel like doing any schoolwork today, so I'm not going to. Whereas if you're just always procrastinating and always putting stuff off, then you can't, when you get to that point where you don't want to do anything, but you have to, then you're kind of stuck and you're doing the assignment maybe with a lack of motivation or not really to the best of your ability. So I learned that like my sophomore year of college, and that's how I've been doing it ever since. But my stress comes from I lack confidence in my ability to do well in things. So once I finish an assignment or I finish a test, I immediately think that I didn't do good on it, which causes me to really stress out and think about it. And that's what happens in everything that I do. So that would probably be one area that I really need to work on, is just be like, well, I can't do anything about it now, or just believe in myself more. And I think we all can, I think, do better by just believing in ourselves more on different things. So self-confidence is big when you're doing college or anything in life if you want to get anywhere. So that's my experience. And then we're going to share a video. We probably won't watch the whole thing. I don't know, maybe we will. Maybe we'll just let it run through. But this is an oddly satisfying video. So maybe this is a video that you can come back to and watch over break. Maybe you just need a 10-minute breather. But over the years, I've seen things that are oddly satisfying that people have put out with the caption of "this is oddly satisfying." So this is just a compilation of things that I found on YouTube. So we'll just let it run for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Maybe during this time you can work on your reflection form. I think we'll put a question on there of what was your favorite thing on this video? What was your favorite oddly satisfying thing on this video? You guys can answer that, but we'll come back here in a little bit and we'll just close it out. So. Sweet. Well, we will go ahead and we will not restart the video like I normally
Yeah.
do.
You know, I think even if you're, you know, like working on your reflection form, like the music was kind of like calming, which I'm
Yeah.
on purpose. And I follow a lot of people on TikTok who do like resin art, and so I really like I really like watching that for the oddly satisfying type reasons, as well as like when they vacuum up like the dirty carpets and they come out and they're like really clean. That's the kind of stuff that I like. So that's what I'm gonna put on my reflection form.
Yeah, I mean, sweet. Well, thank you so much for watching our presentation, and we hope that this helps you all with stress relief and maybe even learning what stress is for the rest of the semester and finals week and then the holiday season. And we also hope everybody stays safe and healthy. But we will talk to everybody sometime, I guess. So thank you all.
Definitely. Thank you.